In this episode, I'll be talking through how I approach a new lock, how I decide what tools to use, how I figure out how much tension to use, and how I get a feel for the pins. This video is also an entry into Adam Harris's 100 subscriber giveaway. Hey folks, welcome to Pugs Picks Locks. If you're new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you'll always be notified when I release new content like this. And if you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, click that like button, and leave a comment or a question down below. Did I get something wrong? Is there something I could do better, do differently? Please let me know. I want to learn from all of you to continue to grow my knowledge and skill set and provide you with better and better content. Also, leave a comment if there's a specific topic that you'd like covered. Okay, let's start out with the shout out of the week. This week, the shout out goes to Adam Harris in honor of his 100 sub giveaway. What's heartening to see is that he's already up to 192 subscribers as of filming this episode. Adam's a great guy, and he's well on his way in his Locksport journey. Now, normally giveaways are not numbered episodes on this channel, but Adam's giveaway requirement to make a video explaining one's approach to picking a new lock is actually right in line with my goal of helping new pickers learn how to pick. So I'm making an exception, and I'm releasing this video as a numbered episode. That said, if you're not already a subscriber of his, follow the link in the description and give Adam another sub. Alright, let's dive into this week's video. I'm going to use this cheap little Master Lock 146D to demonstrate how I would approach a new lock. We're going to pretend that I've never touched any locks in the Master Lock 140 family and that this is a new experience for me. So let's go ahead and get this opened up. Top or bottom? I apologize if this gets really loud. That was probably really loud. Set the keys aside. We're not going to really be looking at those. Okay, so my usual initial approach is to grab the tools that I'm most familiar with. So that's this Z-wrench, and I will either go bottom of the keyway with it, or I will go top the keyway with it. And for a pick, that's the tensioner I usually grab, I will grab my Pagoda hook from SouthOrd, which is my favorite pick, as I've mentioned so many times on this channel. If these initial tools don't work, for instance, let's say I was not able to get the Z-wrench into the lock, and generally just I usually go bottom of the keyway first. It's where I'm most comfortable, but some locks don't really have enough room to really in the keyway to really allow for bottom of the keyway to be effective. This one, I'm going to be able to get to the bottom of the keyway. There's our first open on this thing. A lot of these 146, a lot of the locks in the 140 family, if you breathe on them, they'll open because Master Lock. So if I were not able to get a this tensioner in the bottom of the keyway, I would go to one of my other bottom of the keyway tools. Generally, I would start with a standard L tensioner in the bottom of the keyway, and I would go there. because I prefer bottom of the keyway. If I'm going top of the keyway, if the lock for whatever reason, like some American locks, I can't really go top of the keyway for whatever reason. I'm bottom of the keyway for whatever reason, and I will go to a top of the keyway tensioner. If this tensioner did not fit, I would go to, I would probably go to the top of the keyway pry bar, and find the biggest one that fits. This one has a lot of slop in it, so I might dig in. They're actually all buried under here, but I would dig for a bigger one that actually does fit. The idea is that I'm trying to find the largest tensioner that will fit. And the reason for wanting the largest tensioner that's going to fit, like there, is because you can see how little flex or how much or how little flex there is in this one. Whereas if the first one that I had grabbed, this one, there's a lot more flex. And that flex soaks up some of the feedback that you get from the lock, from the pins. So you try to find the stiffest, the thickest tensioner that actually does fit the lock. There we go. You want to find the largest one that fits the lock. But in this case, bottom of the keyway was working for me. My usual Z-wrench was working for me. And my Pagoda hook was working for me. Is working for me, I should say. All those magic opens that I got, and now I can't. There we go. There we go. It's always nice when the lock cooperates with you, right? So, if, however, I was not able to use my Pagoda hook for whatever reason, it just wasn't working for me. I wasn't able to get it through the lock, or I wasn't able to reach a high lift and back, I would generally go to standard hooks, and I would start with the shallowest hook first. The shallowest hook that I have, I would use that first. It's a whole lot of tension you're using there, Pugs. Okay. I thought that, there it is. There's 3 that was holding me up there. Go to the shallowest hook that I have, and try that. If I'm still not having any success or whatever, then I might go for a steeper hook. And then I just work my way through the hooks, getting steeper and steeper each time. If I'm not having any luck with bottom of the keyway, I'm not able to get the picks through the keyway because the tensioner is taking up too much of the keyway, that's generally when I decide to go to top of the keyway tension. Because I do like being able to lever. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. I do like being able to lever my pick off of, you can see that I'm levering the pick off of the tensioner. And And I like that because it allows me to control the movements a little bit more precisely by having something to lever off of. If I can't lever off of the tensioner itself, I will lever off the bottom of the keyway like I am here. So the pick is going to go against the bottom of the keyway. If that doesn't allow for precise enough movements, and if I am able to, I will find a piece of warding, and you can see right now that the pick is levering off of this piece of warding right here. I will use a little piece of the warding in the keyway to lever the pick off of. In this case, I keep slipping off of it. So levering off of a piece of warding is the next approach that I take. Failing that, I will next, if there is no warding that I can lever off of, and if levering off the bottom of the keyway isn't really working, I will freehand it, and I will use just the pressure of my fingers to try to set the pins. This is much harder, trying to press the pins into place just using your hand pressure, and you have to use much lighter tension to get that done. Now watch me have zero success with this. There we go. Okay. So just using the pressure of my fingers to be able to manipulate the pins. So if I'm still struggling, if I'm not getting it right away, I'm actually really used to, like I said, to these locks, and that's why I sort of skipped a step, which is I generally just drag a pick across the pins a few times. If I didn't know that this was a 4-pin lock, I'd be counting the pins as I did so. But what I'm really doing is I'm getting it used to a feel for the spacing of the pins. So I'm getting a sense of pick depth so that I know that I'm on pin 4, I'm on pin 3, I'm on pin 2, I'm on pin 1. And being able to move from pin to pin, I might go from pin 4 to pin 2 to pin 3 to pin 1, just getting a sense of pick depth by just gently dragging the tip of the pick across the pins a few times. Just get a sense for where those pins are, and that way that when I actually attack the lock, I know where I am in the lock. So pin 4, pin 3, and I'll tell you that one of the reasons why I'm getting the opens so quickly using bottom of the keyway tension is that when I put the pick in, you can see that the shaft of the pick is actually hitting pin 1 and is actually setting pin 1 on the way in, and setting pin 2 also, setting both pins 1 and 2 as I'm putting the pick in. So that doesn't always work. Sometimes that can work against you. Sometimes that's a reason to go to top of the keyway, because if I'm bumping pins 1 and 2 with the shaft on the way in and oversetting them, then that's a detriment. In this case, it's a benefit, because 1 is our first binder, 2, then 3, and then 4, 3, 2. So in this case, being able to set pin 1 first is definitely a benefit. And I'm doing that accidentally as I move the pick into the lock. 4, 3, 2. And there we go. So that's my approach. I start with the tools that I know. I start with the tools that I'm familiar with and that I know. And then I make decisions based on, do I need top of the keyway or bottom of the keyway tension? What tensioner best fits that need? So if I'm going bottom of the keyway, this standard L tensioner is working. That also gives me something to lever off of, lever the pick off of. And if I'm going top of the keyway, the criteria is that you find the largest tensioner that fits that lock, that fits that keyway, so that you don't lose any of the feedback to the flex in the tensioner. See how much that one's flexing, right? So you use the thickest top of the keyway pry bar that you have, or and for instance, my Z wrench is actually very solid. There's almost zero flex to it whatsoever. So how do I figure out how much tension I'm going to need? I generally start with light tension, and then every time I pass through the lock, and if I'm not getting things to set properly, I'll increase the tension on my next pass. I generally start at the back of the lock, and I work from the back of the lock to the front. If I do that once or twice, and each time a pin in front, like pin 1 is binding first, then I might change and start from the front and then work my way backwards. Go from way to the back, not backwards. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many pins there are. Generally, I will start with the last pin, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever, how many pins. I'll start at the back of the lock. But the amount of tension that I use is each pass I make through the lock, if I am not getting a good solid set off of any of the pins, I will increase the tension a little bit. And then I will go from there. I did see a neat trick recently using the key, and I forget what channel it is, but this person said that what they do is they put a tensioner into the keyway, into the hole, the keychain hole on a key, and then they press, and however much tension it requires to turn the key is how much tension they use in the lock. That could be a nice approach for you. So let's try that. Let's see how that works. So let me get a sense for how much tension I'm going to need based on that. So, okay. So that's like a little bit past light tension. That's like medium tension. So now let's go ahead and do medium tension. I'm just throwing my tools all over my desk here. Okay. That worked. Okay. So I'll have to experiment with that technique a little bit more to really know if it works or not. But chances are I'm not looking at the key when, at least to start. I'll look at the key if I'm panicking, I can't get a lock open. I will then go and take a look at the key. But for the most part, I don't really look at the key to start with because I want to challenge myself to pick locks blind and not get a sense of the bidding first, and just determine the bidding, quote unquote, by the feedback I get from the lock. So, but yeah, that's another technique that you can try for trying to establish tension, is how much tension it takes to actually turn the key within the lock. All right. So that's generally my approach. I start with the tools I'm most familiar with, and then I make adjustments to the tools based on the feedback that I'm getting from the lock and the other characteristics of the lock, like the type of keyway it is. If it's super narrow, do I need to go to a top of the keyway as opposed to bottom of the keyway, et cetera, et cetera. I take all the data and feedback. I take my cues from the lock. I used to tell new pickers is let the lock pick itself, right? So let the lock pick itself. Let it tell you what tools you need and how to use them based on the feedback and other physical characteristics of the lock.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, remember to drop a like and leave a comment or a question below. If you're new here, subscribe and ring the notification bell for more content like this. Until the next video, happy picking y'all.